Sorry I'm late.
Now we have a quorum.
Sorry I'm late.
Did you have a raise?
No, I got to go in here. It rushed out.
I don't need these. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Move them if you don't
I'll
want.
just stick them in my office till tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't think I saw the numbers. Did Leah send them around? Do you remember?
I don't think she did.
Okay.
I looked online, I didn't see them posted.
They're not listed. No.
Okay.
She had an emergency family situation. So.
You coughed. You coughed.
Oh, thanks, I brought something.
Anybody else?
I'm not sick though,
Anybody else? Yeah, thanks.
on the plus side. Thank you.
Steve.
So new planning board members' first assignment is to read this book and summarize it first next time.
I read an earlier edition, if that counts. Where's Steve Barry? Is he coming?
We have not heard from him, and he is not sworn in, so he cannot.
He wasn't at town meeting.
No, I knew that.
Did you get both of these?
I didn't get that one.
If Steve comes late, can you swear in?
I just took the agenda.
We may not talk about this much tonight. Yes, short. That's the pool,
That's the
3 people, so.
Has my name. I'll catch up later. That's good, thank you.
All right.
We can go to chat, right? We have a quorum, so we can like.
Oh, yeah, we got business there, yeah. 6 o'clock.
You ready to go? All right, welcome everybody, 6 p.m. The Town of Brookfield Planning Board meeting for March 16th. Call the meeting to order. Roll call. I'm Ed Ingalls. Steve Barry is not here. Donna Fossett. Present.
Yes, I'm here.
Leah is excused. Marshall is excused. Mark Lofgren.
Here.
Rich Sacker.
Here.
Great. So Donna's new to us. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want to give us a little background or why do you want to be on the planning board? How are you going to help us out?
Well, actually, I was willing to do the one-year term, but Steve Barry beat me to it. So I've done probably 10 years on other planning boards in other towns. So
Great. Okay. Welcome.
and attended many planning board meetings.
Yes. We have no alternates tonight. I don't have any announcements, or we haven't had much mail coming in, so there's nothing there. On invoices, we have a couple of invoices for meeting minutes somewhere,
I sent that.
and I'm waiting on Leah to print them, and so we can vote on them, but we'll get to that.
Since my email is a Proton email, and since Proton email comes from an outside country server, some municipalities reject my email, so maybe it's not getting to you.
Okay, we'll double check that when she's back. We did not get the minutes circulated. We have draft minutes from you, but we don't have them printed here, so we'll table that until the next meeting to approve those. Any public comments tonight? Hearing none, let's go on to new business. I guess the first thing we should do is elect a chair and vice chair for this year. Entertain a motion to nominate anybody that's interested.
I'll make a motion to nominate Ed Ingalls as chair.
Second.
Any discussion or any other nominations?
Should we nominate the vice chair at the same time?
We can do it together, sure.
Okay, I nominate Marshall to continue as vice chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have two motions, I guess, but we can combine them. So motion is for me to continue as chair and Marshall continue as vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, I guess I will continue with the meeting then. Chris, gravel pit, 155E stuff.
Yep. So the state came to the town and asked, or didn't ask, they said, we need these intent to excavate forms filled out completely. And as long as I've done it, which has only been a couple of years, they have not been filled out completely. And I went back in the file and looked to see, and there are 3 lines that don't get filled out. There are 4, 5, and 6. One of them is a permit for the 155E permit, which is supplied by the town, assuming that all criteria has been met. There's a second version of that 155E-2, which does not apply, and then there would be a space for a state permit. Our gravel pits don't have a state permit, and they would be subject to the 155E regulations that the town has on file. But because we've never required that, I think it would be a somewhat lengthy process for either of the gravel pits or both of them to obtain all of that information and produce what the 155E is actually asking of them. So because the state came to the town so late and the town hasn't formally gone through this process with either of the pits, I guess I'm here to ask what the planning board would like to have done as far as filling out these forms, because we're going to be getting them any day. And I'm going to have to tell people, you got to fill in these lines. So 2 of the lines, we can say, that's fine, it's not applicable, but the 1 line dealing with 155E is in this case. So I'm here to seek guidance on how you want me to treat that.
So that's the first one, right? The second 2, we can just say NA.
Yep.
Did you say there was, when you said there was a -2?
Yeah, and I'm not even completely sure what it is, but it would be lines 4, 5, and 6, and line 5 is the one that would apply to both of the pits that we have in town.
Did you happen to look at 155E?
Yes. I did. It's, and that's why I say we don't have time to get them up to speed on that, and we need a stopgap measure here in order to have them continue operation until they can do that.
They've always indicated that they're grandfathered because they started before 75, I think.
Right.
Now, with 155E, I'm trying to find out, is that applicable for grandfathered pits?
Yes. That's, and if you want,
Either one of those.
you have a copy of the signed copy of the Brookfield version. And this is 91.
91, okay.
With this before.
And so the 155E applies actually to grandfathered pits that don't require a state permit. So it's a local regulation. And that framework is what was come up with in the town here, I guess.
So
And
it's number 5, you're saying then?
Just
Yeah,
5.
either 5 and 6 they have to fill out, which they haven't filled out before.
They were previously permitted, is that the deal?
they're considered grandfathered, so they would not have a state permit granted to them. They were open and operating before the state required a permit. And that it falls back to the local municipality, and the state requires that the local municipality have a 155E plan in place. And that's completely up to the town to decide how strenuous they want to be with their regulations. I would say Brookfield is somewhere in the middle. I have two other towns with me. One is very short, one is very long in terms of what they require.
So is there a town permit in existence for these two?
That would be you would obtain a permit via the 155E process.
So they're not permitted currently by anyone?
No.
They've just been hauling gravel
Yeah.
since, do we know when?
No, but probably both of them since, could be even prior to 1960, but at least in the 60s.
So they've owned the property since the 60s?
No. The property will change hands, but the process of the pit, as long as it remains in operation, if you went more than 2 years without operating in that pit, then it would fall out of the grandfathered status. But to my knowledge, both of these pits have been at least moderately active the entire time. And I can only speak for the last 40 years or so, but since it was required to have a state permit, I know they have done.
So 155E says that prior to 79, they're exempt from a permit, but this form is saying that they do need a permit.
They need a permit, but not a state permit. And it's up to the town to produce that 155E. And it's up to the town to say what regulations are that the town wants to see on these pits.
Can I ask where the permits are, or the pits are?
One of them is just off of Governor's Road, and the other one is on Moose Mountain Road.
So in the past, they filled out all their paperwork, gave the state the fee, and they continued their operation.
Yeah.
Now this year, the state is saying we have to,
There has to be an answer to one of those 3 lines in there.
and that's new this year, I guess, the state is.
Yep. He came in at the end of January, first part of February, and said they were not going to process the form unless it was filled out completely. So
Who is this?
Noah Hoffman, he's one of the inspectors for the state that does help. He'll help with the municipality as far as training and oversight in terms of he will drive to either a timber sale or a gravel operation and inspect it for, they get a little placard that they have to put up at the pit and to say that someone has filled out that form and given an intent to excavate form.
Do we have a form? Do you know?
Intent to excavate? Or,
No, a form for them to apply for the permit.
not that I know of, it's just in that form there, and it would be up to the operator of the pit to provide the list. That's 20 plus things, I think.
Yeah, so application for permit, any owner subject to this chapter, which is this whole thing, must apply to the planning board for a permit and submit a reclamation plan. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff like name and address and existing topography, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, is there a fee that is charged by the town and or the state for the removal?
The state charges a $100 fee for to file the intent to excavate. The town, at the end of the year, this time of year, the intent to excavate form goes from April 1st to March 31st of the following year. And then they need to file what is called the report of excavation. So they will tell the town how many yards of material that they excavated over the past year. And then it's processed, and each yard of material is taxed at 2 cents a yard. So the town gets a yield tax from.
So does it cost us more in paperwork than it does in fee income?
In this town, I would say that the tax revenue is negligible at best, and yeah, it's more expensive to deal with all this stuff than it is to actually get the tax. But there are a town like Ossipee has several pits, and they could see some actual money, but 2 cents a yard is ridiculous. I don't even know why, what the purpose of it is, but.
Now, what's the planning board application fee? Is that 100, did you say?
No, that's a state fee, and I'm not even sure it's a processing fee, I guess. The state's only role in this is they kind of handle the paperwork aspect of it and enforcement for certain things. It's an executive function more than anything.
Well, I'm thinking we should charge a fee just to cover the aggravation of calculating the income.
Is that what you were reading from?
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So on, when you get to page 5, application for permit,
Okay.
I'll let you just read that for a second. There's a whole list on the next page of stuff they're supposed to give us. But
I'm sure this isn't the first time, we're not breaking new ground here. The only new ground here is we need something to put in that line
Yep.
so that the state can be satisfied and to essentially buy the board time to decide what they want to do moving forward.
And I think they're looking for a date, not just pending.
Yeah, I think what they're looking for is a permit number, so if we actually had a permit that could be numbered, I think that, would be what they're looking for, but I don't see that process in the town's paperwork.
So I'd let you weigh in as well, but I'm just asking the board, would it make sense for the planning board to write a letter stating that we need the application and all, maybe not all, but some of all this stuff, and we'll create a form that's got a permit number on it, and we send it, maybe we run it by Laura before we send it, just to,
Send it where to the applicants?
yeah, and just say, you guys need to apply for a permit, and here's what we need.
Now, the year starts April 1st. So if they don't have to permit April 1st, the state can shut, the town can shut them down. So that's the fight here. What are we gonna do for the people that run the pit between now and April 1st? In other words, if we don't get that into them, they can shut them down, right? So,
Well, what will happen is if we can't come up with a solution, kind of a quick fix solution in the next few weeks, they won't be able to have their new intent to excavate for 2026-27 accepted by the state. And my opinion is it's not really the fault of the pit owner, and it's not really, the state is pushing a little too hard here. They should have given a year lead time. They didn't do that. So it puts a lot of pressure on the town to kind of change directions on how things have been handled for the past, 35 to 40 years. And
so I think we asked them to fill out a permit application. It may not be complete. It's pretty extensive for what I can see for them to do within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They get their permit application in, I guess we can accept it with an understanding they have to fill in the rest of the work. And does that get them going?
I take it we wouldn't have any of this on record at the town when you don't really have any details about that cover these points.
So the things you have to have in the application are the name and the address of the owner. Then it goes on to the excavation plan, which includes topography, surface drainage patterns, easements, so borings, test pits, map at scale, et cetera, et cetera. So they're not going to get that in 2 weeks.
Sure.
And then secondly, a reclamation plan, which needs the signature of an engineer. So we're not going to get that for sure. So in my mind, you get a short form application with their name on it, and the other two things are pending.
It does say the planning board may waive one or more of the items listed under this section. At the beginning, just above A, at least in this one, application for permit, this.
Oh, application for permit over here.
Here it is. This sentence, last sentence there.
Okay. So if we just get a short form permit with their name on it, sounds like that's good for now.
We could waive.
We just
I mean,
wait
the
for
question
the
is,
year.
my question would be is why
Do we want
to waive all this stuff? It's here for a reason, presumably. We've never asked for this information, apparently.
That's what I know of.
Yeah.
I think
take Ed's comment, because it worked on this.
Yeah, sorry.
You're not the chairman.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot that.
Okay, several things. Who has the enforcement of the pits? Is it the planning board or is it the selectmen who are supposed to enforce it? That's my first question.
The planning board's responsible for checking on them.
Correct.
Do you do enforcement? So
That
that
would be
does
the select-
enforcement for everything, right?
Yes.
From my research, because this is, as you know, a frequent topic for me, is the selectmen are supposed to enforce it. Right now, because I asked the same question prior to this, they have no permit process because they were grandfathered, so they figured, what do they need a permit for? They go to the state. Apparently, that's not completely correct. So we have to make sure that you have, so we don't get into any trouble, that you have a policy and a permit process, and you simply have them fill it out, like you're saying, give them a number, but it has to come from the selectmen. But I'd make sure that's in place, so the state doesn't give us. So when we put, it's like, we need a process of where are we going to put these permits, where the permit number's going to be, how are they going to start, and then have them start filling that permit out. But they can do, because it sounded confusing to the public. It sounded like the planning board's responsible for this. You're only responsible for inspections and stuff like that. The selectmen have the other responsibility.
Or creating that form, but
I guess, going by what Ed said, the selectmen should be writing a letter for enforcement purposes and say, attached is the permit form, the permit application. And the planning board has waived all these other things for this year. All we need is your name and address and like your intent to excavate or something. You know, some description of what they're doing.
You can waive it, you're allowed to waive it all.
It says, yeah. Planning board may waive one or more of the items listed under this section.
implies, it implies they're the enforcement, but that's.
That's
Well,
what's
I would say-
confusing to me.
The way I read this, the planning board is supposed to oversee the permit process. To me, that's different from enforcement. So I think they come to the planning board to get a permit. The planning board can waive one or more list items here, and I think it would be the planning board that would issue the permit. But I would think if they're in violation of something, that it would be the select board that would enforce.
What are they allowing you to waive?
It has to do with the application items. One or more of the items listed under this section, which are the application items.
Which is the
The ones that Ed went over earlier.
excavation plan and the reclamation plan, and there's 20 and 7 things respectively under each of those.
Each of those plans.
So you can waive the reclamation?
But this is the state application you can waive?
No, this is a town.
A town application, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the first order of business is, it sounds like we're responsible for the application. So my recommendation would be, let's go online, abutting towns, Ossipee, Wakefield, maybe Wolfboro, Tuckerboro. They should have all their permits online. Let's not invent the wheel. Let's pull things from.
I'm just going to give
You
you,
got them? Oh, good.
these aren't abutting towns, but these are
Doesn't matter.
two examples that I found. This is the town of Auburn. You can see it's
I took the shorter one.
Yeah.
much shorter. This is the town of Mason, New Hampshire.
Well, I don't even know what that is.
I just picked two.
I mean, it can-
I just picked two to kind of show you the range of what I,
yeah.
I think you find that they're all sort of similar, but some of them get a little more wordy when it comes for engineering or certain
So,
zoning districts.
So this one includes all those documents, the topography and engineering study.
If I had to guess, Brookfield took theirs from another town, but took it from another town, that took it from another town. I doubt it was invented here.
yeah.
Why bother to invent it when somebody else has already done it?
But Chris, back to the form itself, where we need to fill out something.
Yep.
Let's see, did we have that here?
This one?
Yeah. This one. Date of permit.
That's the state form?
That's the intent to excavate, and the line that we're concerned with is line 5.
The
I
date
think
of
that's the
permit
only one that pertains.
for RSA 155E2. which we think would be this permit process.
Mhm.
Yeah, right, okay.
But don't they all, Ed, don't they always play their grandfather every time we go talk to them? Has that been our experience?
Well, that's what I came up against when I kept bringing it up.
Yes.
That's why I said I wanted a legal opinion on that. I never heard it, maybe it
Because
happened.
we've been working with them in the past, and they always play the grandfather clause.
Well, my main question I had asked is, and I think Donna, you also brought it up, is the same owner, is it grandfathered if it changes ownership?
Oh, that's a problem, yeah.
It goes in-
As long as it stays operational,
Right.
is that the rule?
Yes.
Yep.
So grandfathering is a question here? Is
Well,
it-
no, they're grandfathered. The question is, if they're grandfathered, do they have to follow these regulations created after the fact? They've been operating since the 70s at least.
So is that something that the planning board could adopt, that a position on that? And make a form, and one of the blocks on the form is grandfathered because we've been in continuous operation since prior to whatever date?
Well, when do you stop being grandfathered? When you reach China? I mean,
When it stops operating. When it stops operating,
Yeah,
it's
but-
good for a little while, then it loses that.
The grandfathering stops if it is not, there's been no excavation for 2 years.
no, I
continuous.
understand that, but how much, there should be some control over how much you're excavating is my point. You
So
know?
this 155E2D says that the owners of any existing excavation area for which no permit has been obtained, which they haven't because it's grandfathered, shall file a report with the local regulator, which is us, within 1 year after receiving written notice of this requirement from the regulator. So we need to give them written notice of this requirement, and they have a year to respond. The report shall include the location, the date the excavation started, description of the limits of the expansion, estimate of the area which has been excavated at the time of the report, estimate of the commercial viable earth materials still available. That's it. That sounds pretty doable, to give them a year to do that.
Where was that at?
That's in here, 155, 136, page 136. E2D. And I think that this was there last year, for sure. I don't know if it was there
And that says
2 years ago.
for permits that never hit for pits that never hit
For
a
which no permit has been obtained under this chapter. And there was no permit needed because it's grandfathered.
But it says that they have to provide this information with 1 year after receiving notice, and in no case later than 2 years following August 4, 1989.
Yeah, so we're already way behind.
A little bit behind.
But we've never sent them a letter. So that's
That we know of, yeah.
that's on the town,
Yeah,
not us per se.
yeah.
Can I ask another question? The word is permit. What are we actually permitting them to do? What is it? Why does the state want us to do this? What's the answer to that? What's the
We're
permit?
letting them
Just
excavate.
so the selectman knows?
Yeah.
What do you mean? We're letting them dig their gravel pit. We're excavate. We're letting them excavate.
The state does have control over that, though.
What page do you want it?
136.
What I'm trying to find out is, generally with zoning, you can't apply it retroactively. Right, if something exists today and then you change your zoning, you can't go back and say our zoning's changed.
Right.
You gotta comply. Does that apply for here for 153? And I think you read something about if there was no permit, what else is in that paragraph?
That's T, section D on that page. 136, page 136. What do we have in our zoning? regarding excavation. Excuse me, 1 second. I would suggest we write a letter of some kind with a permit attached, 2026-1 and 2026-2. And we ask for their name, and which is the first thing stated there. And then these 4 items that are in 155 E2D, and say you've got a year.
You have a year to do what? Provide?
To provide
But it,
the
but
the location, the description, an estimate, and an estimate of what's left. Estimate of how much you took out, estimate of what's left.
Don't they already have been doing that for the state already, correct?
Yeah, it's on the intent to excavate form.
It is.
That part of it.
But nothing at the town level.
Well, it's filed with the town, so technically, the very basics are part of the form.
So this excavation area and the remaining cubic yards, they have those numbers?
Yep. Yeah, they're approximate, but
Yeah. So that's 2 of these things, those are the hard ones. And the limits of permissible expansion.
see, paragraph A says, such an excavation site shall be exempt from the provisions of local zoning or similar ordinances regulating the location and excavation.
Well, yeah, that's, the state wants this line filled out.
Yeah.
But their rules say you don't have to.
This says, the way,
But it does say they have to file a report
Yeah,
also.
even without a permit.
It's exempt, they still have to file a report.
a report is different than what this asks for, right? It's for engineering plans.
Yes, it is different, definitely.
But we can waive all that stuff and say, look, all we need is this right here.
Right.
And that comes from here. So I don't think it is too onerous. I mean,
Not if we ask them to fill this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've seen these in the past,
You've
yeah.
seen these, right?
Yeah.
In fact, we should have that thing attached to our check when we go check them.
Well, they fill this in with a check to the state and give it to Chris.
And when do you get that? How, what time of year?
that's once a year, and it'll be coming right up. It runs from April 1st of 2026 to March 31st of 2027.
So we'll get one in April.
I'm shocked they're not already here.
Yeah.
That's right.
So that whoever's checking the pits should have this in front of them when they go up there,
Yeah, they do.
right?
Yep, yep.
Because, they say the acreage here, you go up there and it says 5 and it looks like 15.
Well,
And you question it, right?
as far as the state is concerned, they don't really check on that. They check to make sure that the intent to excavate has been filled out and they have the certificate posted somewhere so that it's known that it's on file with the state.
And that's supposed to be on the property like a timber thing?
Yep, it's exactly the same as the timber.
So that should be one of the questions on our form.
Yeah,
Is there a visible permit?
Yep.
How active are these 2 pits?
One of them is very inactive, and one of them is sporadically active.
Okay.
So neither, I guess, that's part of the problem here is they're not a huge operation that's mining a lot of material. In both cases, it's just probably, even the one that's more active is just a few thousand yards of material.
Which one is that?
That's the one on Moose Mountain Road.
Okay, the one that we have the problem with, the eroding bridge?
Yes.
Okay. Oh geez, let's load that up.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
You know what I would do to make this easier? I've seen this board do this for years, where we're sending letters back and forth, and somebody doesn't get the letter, then they don't write back, and then they didn't know, and things run late. we know these people. Why don't we just invite them to a board meeting and just say, listen, we found this out. We want to inform you so we all understand it, so nobody's confused. I just hate these letters going back and forth, because when we try to get the inspection stuff, we tried to get the existing reclamation plan, and that was, nobody answered the emails. So I'm just saying, just ask them to come in for one meeting when it's convenient for them, as soon as possible, that's all. That's what I would do.
But if they're coming in, we should be clear on what we want,
Exactly.
not wishy-washy, you know?
And it puts us another month out.
And
Yeah.
they'll miss their application.
Just, I already did make contact, and I sort of warned them what is going on, and that we would try and come up with a solution so that there shouldn't be a major interruption in what they're doing.
That was Dana?
Yep. And they're both totally reasonable, so to your point, yes, I already made some human contact. And yeah, and that's all I think needs to be done tonight, is just a path forward here. And I think exactly what you're saying, to waive those certain things, and you know, when they bring in the intent to excavate form, you know, if we had a letter that can send back with it, because they need to send a copy of what's been done back to them so they have it. If we could have a letter available in the next month or so to say these are the things we need to do for next year. And in terms of satisfying the state, if you're willing to waive some of that list, and we can obtain the information we need to, we either create a permit number, or these intent to excavate forms produce an operation number, and we could tag on to that even as a permit number, just to simplify things. At the top of the page there, it's a number that's generated by a town code and the number of operations in the town. So it's a unique number to each pit, and we could further tag on to that with a permit number.
Yeah, it's year town operation number -E.
Mhm.
Well, I would suggest we get a form. You'd be willing to hand deliver a form
Okay.
for us? Yeah.
Yep.
So what if we get a form that says, give us your, whatever this says here, name and address of the owner, and the person who will actually do the excavation, and the abutters.
And the what?
Abutters. That's what we asked for here. And we say we're going to waive these other things for the next, it's not permanent if we waive it. We're waiving it for 2026-7. And then just take this part and say, in accordance with 155-2D, please provide the following, two of which are on this form anyway. And the other one is just the location and a description of how big it can get.
And actually, the location is on the form too. Map and
Is it?
lot is on there.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't seen this before. So.
Map and lot, and I'm not sure if the road access is on the excavate form or not.
Name of access road.
Yeah.
The only thing that wouldn't be here is like the total permissible, limits of permissible expansion.
That may come down to surveying, because you would have to follow some setbacks and come up with a total area, which they may already have. But
There's a whole paragraph about what that means.
You see, that's why I thought the reclamation plan was a very good tool, because you can see where everything is. And the Moose Mountain pit had all that at some point. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah. Is everybody okay with that plan for now?
Oh, I see. Okay, so this line 6, date of report, that's the report you've been talking about for grandfather pits, right? 155E21D.
D is what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's what this line 6 is.
Yeah, but we don't have that.
I
So
know,
we
I
would
don't have either. I mean,
We
just
would have
catching
that
up with you.
if they did this. We would have that.
Yes, right,
Or we get a 5 because we would give them a permit.
right. I see.
Then the next question is, are we happy with our requirements from 1991? right?
Well, then we have to deal with that.
Yeah. That's,
Yeah.
that's what,
Well, we think both of these would be grandfathered, both of the existing pits, right?
but we don't know what that means with respect to the regulations.
We should get a reclamation plan from them at some point. Now, they don't have to do it until, I think, a year before they're gonna close, or a year after that.
I think the wording for this process is if the pit is considered grandfathered, the point is it falls out of state jurisdiction to issue a permit, and it falls onto the town's 155E to do what they feel is appropriate. So,
You just have to give the state this.
yeah,
With the date on it.
and that's the confusing part, because the grandfather is sort of like a misleading term saying we don't have to do anything. The grandfather actually in this case is saying you're moving from the state permit to the municipal permit. I think that's the way I read it, my interpretation of it.
And my question or concern is, in the past with zoning, you can't go retroactive, right?
Right.
You can't say,
Right, so really all we're doing is looking to move forward a year stopgap. That may not even be enough time to put all the pieces together. You may be sitting here next year saying, hey, we're gonna waive this for another year because we're not totally satisfied with our form yet. But it's up to the town and the planning board, so there's really not an oversight here other than the fact that there has to be a 155E process. And that could be just as simple as name and address, or it could be very lengthy, depending on, how much you want to go through.
Would this fellow from the state come and speak to us?
Oh, I'm sure it would.
That might be, then we could all understand.
I don't know if we want to push this out another month, though,
Oh, I'm not suggesting to push it out.
just to develop this further.
Yeah,
Do we need to vote on that, or we just send a letter, or have Chris deliver a letter in the form?
never hurts to vote on things. It never hurts to vote on things.
Okay, I'll make a motion to create a form on town letterhead that asks for the name and address of the owner, et cetera, as discussed in our 155E regulations, and then continues to ask for 155-2D items that are listed, which are the estimates of the area, et cetera. And we'll have them each sign it. And with that in mind, we will plan to waive for the next year.
We'd give them a permit in effect,
We give a
based on
permit
that
with
information.
those other items waived for now.
And, I don't know if we need if you want to have a motion and everything, second in it all before we discuss it.
Yeah, I think I made the motion,
Yeah,
not very
you did.
well, but,
Okay, I'll second the motion.
okay, discussion on that.
who are we charging with making up the permit?
I can do it. I mean, if Leah was here, I'd have her do it, but she's not back till
Yeah.
next week.
I can look at some of the abutting towns' permits. See if we
Yeah,
can.
my question is, are we considering, after this initial process plays out, would we consider asking them to provide a more robust plan, like what's in here? Or, as long as they give us the basic information here, then, because if we send the letter the way you described it, if I were them, I'd think, okay, all I gotta do is do these
Yeah,
4
we're
items,
done.
and I'm good forever.
Yeah. We just need
Is
to make
that-
it clear it's 26, 27 waivers only.
Okay, so it leaves it open whether we might require something more down the road.
Just, my opinion is, with this letter, I would send the 155E and I would highlight the things that are being waived
Yeah.
so that they're familiar with it, and highlight also the things that you're requiring so that they know that this is a temporary situation. Even call it a temporary permit if you want to, just so that moving forward, it's known that we need to work on these things. And then once that process is completed and you have a form you're happy with, then we can present them with that for either the following year or the second following year, depending on how quickly it transpires.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will get that done hopefully this week, out next week, so. All right.
So we have to rework or revisit that document this year.
Yes. We'll have that on the agenda.
I'll probably speak it in a minute.
Subdivision regulations, I think we voted on that last meeting, so it's just a matter of updating the language, which I believe is not done yet. Next item was fees. If you guys have the thing we passed out earlier. So we have two fee schedules, which don't agree in some cases. And the planning board is responsible, or can be responsible for changing the fees and updating the fees and establishing the fees. They haven't been done for almost 10 years, like 9.5 years. And to make this consistent with, or make the other document, which just on the website, I don't even know where it came from, but it's got different numbers, like one thing's 200 on that document and it's 100 on our document in the rules of procedure. We thought it might be good just to start over, not really start over, but just update the fee schedules. And everybody has a copy of it. You get that in front of you, Rich?
Mm-hmm.
So, just starting up top, the pre-application design review is no longer optional. And that seems, and pre-application, $100 seems reasonable, so I thought it was reasonable. The other ones, subdivision, site plan review, I think those are, well, first of all, subdivision of land administration, $100, and then the site plan review administration, $200. It seems like they should be the opposite, if anything, but I would just say subdivision of land, $200, and site plan review, $200. Also, the subdivision of land right now is 150 times the number of lots. Again, you know, it probably should be updated 10 years. Inflation's been pretty high. It probably should be 250 or 300.
And to make these official, you should make a motion that we want to make these changes.
Yeah, I'm just putting the numbers out there
Okay.
now, and then we'll have a motion.
Okay.
So I was thinking 250 or 300 there. The administration fee for lot line adjustment, 100, similar to the pre-application. And notification fees, I don't know why we have $7. It costs at least $9 to mail something. So we should just make it 10 because it takes
Make it 15. I paid 12 yesterday.
time. Yeah, so we can go back and forth on these numbers. I don't think we necessarily have to vote on this tonight. We can wait till more members are here, but I'd be happy to just, if everybody wants to write down my idea next to that numbers, I'd be happy to do that and we can vote on it.
At a future meeting.
Or we could do it tonight, unless you think it's better to have more members. And we have a quorum. Yep.
Can you go through them again real quick?
Yeah, so the word optional goes away for just
Yeah.
for starters.
So just
Yeah.
scratch that off, optional?
Yeah, just the optional part, yeah. Where
We
it says,
changed that last year.
Okay.
where it says notification fees, I would just make though, it says complete below. I just make them all. You want 15?
Yeah. We're at 12 now.
Okay, so let's make that 15.
Oh, I see.
Where it says complete below, everything is 15.
Okay.
Subdivision administration, 200.
Well, before we go any further on this, can I
Yeah.
just ask a question?
Hmm?
This is a pre-application design, so this is a conceptual review you're talking about?
Yep,
Okay, so,
which is now required. So it is taking administrative time.
okay, well, I'm not questioning the fee, I'm questioning public notice. You don't do public notice on a conceptual review.
That might be, I think that's right, actually. I mentioned Change that. You check that. That's right, Tom. Such discussions may occur without the necessity of giving formal public notice, but only at formal meetings of the board.
So we should
So that line-
eliminate number 2.
Yep. Let's go with that. Good catch. $15 for the notification fee. So for subdivision administration, I thought 200, and then 300 for the subdivision of land times number of lots.
Okay.
So,
I
I'm
think
sorry,
the
just,
application fee is low.
which one are we on?
Subdivision land.
The administration piece,
Yeah,
so 200, I
Well-
suggest. You think that's low?
it might be.
Well, we can adjust them again if,
I'll think about it.
so 200, 300. Public notice, I guess, is okay, because you got the notification fees.
Oh,
And just up here, we don't need notification fees at all, right?
Right, correct, yes.
okay, so the subdivision, you do have to have notification fees. And it's, for the public notice, it's just a flat 100?
Plus the notification fees.
Okay, and that complete below. Okay.
Yeah, the way this is written, the notification fees are down here,
Okay,
and they apply to all the stuff above it.
Okay.
I think it's better to have it in each section.
I do too. This is very confusing.
This is like from 20 years ago, so no one
Yeah,
ever looked at it.
yeah. Okay, and the notification fees are, because are these sent certified now?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay. So $7 is too low.
no, so 15 is what Rich suggests.
Okay, and
You okay with that?
well, I'm just questioning if that's enough. I mean, somebody's got to prepare all this. Are you making the applicant do the preparation? Or, so you're not including any administrative fee? And, I mean, what if there's 100 people that need to be notified? And all those, are they addressing their own envelopes to all their abutters?
No, that's done here.
Okay, well then, I think we're losing money on this deal.
Rich, what do you think?
Well, they're supposed to provide labels, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they're supposed to go to the assessor and get the list, right? That's attached to the request, the application.
Well, that's the way they do it, but with my understanding, the applicant is responsible for identifying and providing labels of all the abutters.
But the admin has to stick them on and mail, right? Because it's got to come from here.
He sticks them on them, but the research
Yeah, is the applicant.
is the applicant.
Well, the problem is we're not giving them who the abutters are. We're not pulling up the abutter list,
They have to do that.
and we're gonna rely on them to do that?
We check it.
Okay, so that's the key thing, you check it, okay.
Yeah, we check it.
Okay, good.
All right, let's just go down the list and then we'll come back
All
and
right.
debate. So 200, 300, subdivision public notice is 100 plus the notification fees, which we're gonna put up to $15, $20?
That's good for a few years, maybe a year.
15?
And the post office is going out of business. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Site plan review stays at 200, public notice 100 plus 3, notification 15 again.
What is the LCHIP fee
It's something you have to file with the county, that's their,
That's the right number?
well,
Sure.
That changes too.
yeah,
I don't know what the
we
number
should
is.
check what that is, but.
Okay.
I think it's $25.
Still is. That's what's
I
listed
think
here,
it
yeah.
still is.
I think it's 25.
Lot line adjustment, administration, I'd say 100. And times the number of lots, I think that's fine, is 100. Lot line adjustment's pretty basic, right? No reason to have that higher. Same thing down below, $15. So lot line adjustment doesn't really change, except the top line goes to 100 and the notification goes to 15. We can get rid of this notification fee area because we're going to add it under each one.
Okay.
And then the recording fee, it's $25 just in mileage reimbursement for somebody to go up to Ossipee and back. And we're only charging 30, so that should be at least 50, I would think.
The recording, but does that include the fee to the registry?
That's what I was asking. I don't know what they charge any longer.
Well, they charge.
Well, we can move it to 50 for now and investigate. Maybe we can have.
It depends on how many pages you have. It's a per page charge.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it does say per sheet, $30 per
Okay.
sheet.
That's probably still good.
Can we make it 50 or is it?
You can make it whatever you want.
I don't do it.
Any insight, Steve, on reporting it to county?
I thought it was like $45
Per sheet?
for the first sheet and then more for
Yeah,
each
I-
sheet thereafter.
I would have to get, it's been a while since I've recorded
Well,
anything.
Okay, the phone call. We'll have to make a phone call.
All right. Let's make it 50 for now. I'm thinking we don't vote on this tonight,
Yeah,
and we'll get like a
After.
new list with numbers on it after we get a little more information. Conditional use permit fee, again, 200. And administration application, I don't know why produce is split out from that. You'd think it would be a different application, so I would consider combining those two and just making it 200. Do you know why those are two separate things?
So let's say that somebody wanted to do 5 more uses on their property in one application, they'd pay a flat fee of 100 plus another 200 per,
Got it.
I guess. Is what
So
that's it.
we made all the administrations up top 200, except for the lot line adjustment. So this should probably be 200 as well, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I will get these numbers onto a form.
So what about the bottom line here? Where do we post these? We don't use the Granite State News anymore, do we?
We can. Yeah, we can do either one. I don't think we do.
The website isn't sufficient.
No, I think you have to put it in a newspaper.
There are certain things that have to go in the paper
Yeah.
still.
Certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everything.
Well, probably any subdivision would probably have to go in there.
Changed. It's changed recently, but
Oh, okay. Well, then I may not.
We're in the process of redoing our rules of procedure, which has been an ongoing process, but we did change everything that didn't need to be in the paper to just say on the website and post it on the bulletin board outside.
Okay.
I don't have that detail with me tonight.
But the state has certain requirements, doesn't the
Yeah,
state?
we had the lawyer look at it,
Okay.
and she's, dotting the i's, crossing the t's versus the RSA's.
Okay.
you can count on the website much more now.
Yeah,
Didn't you
no,
do-
I get it, but, there's a lot of people that don't have computers. So,
Well, they have them at the library.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll just watch that.
Okay, so I don't need to look at that. We've updated that, which we have not voted the updated rules of procedure yet. We're still waiting on the lawyer to get back to us. So I think we can leave this in here, Rich, and maybe we'll just change the note that says, it's on the website. If necessary, it would be in the papers, and tell us which one you want or what. So we'll take that up next week. or next month. You had a question, somebody else did too, on short-term rentals?
Sure. With the coming of many ADUs, which all can become rentals, do we want to have any regulations governing short-term rentals on property?
Yep, so Mark took a look at the zoning ordinance that we had, right?
Yeah.
And it basically says any non-permitted use is prohibited?
Yeah,
Something
we
along
have
those
rules that
lines.
say in the use of your property that if anything isn't expressly permitted, it's not allowed. So that was one part of that article that you had found that talked about that. But clearly ADUs we have. There's nothing in our rules that talk about rentals,
That's right.
period. Long-term, short-term, anything.
I agree.
And I don't think we're talking about long-term rentals. I'm assuming there's some rule that we never, I don't know if a town can govern long-term rentals. I have no idea.
Short-term, I think.
I mean, the whole idea of an ADU is that it might be used by someone who doesn't own the property, right?
Yes.
Which implies a
And you
rental.
can- and we would assume it's long-term, but it really could
Yeah.
be by day.
Or it could be a family member, but yeah,
Yeah.
or a friend,
So
whatever.
are you thinking of the Airbnbs? Where it's
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of towns have restrictions on those, and they also have fees on those. So,
Well, if nothing else, we probably would want people to register so that we know
Yeah.
where their short-term rentals. And technically, they're supposed to be paying an 8.5% tax to the state
yeah,
on
I
rentals.
think it's 9 now.
Right, but our town wouldn't have any,
We don't get that,
we
But
don't get it, we don't
towns-
enforce it,
but it's a DRA state requirement.
yeah.
So something happened up in Conway with their management or trying to manage short-term rentals. And I don't know what the issue was, what they were trying to solve. But they ended up going to court and I think losing the case.
They did.
I don't understand what the issue was they were trying to address.
It was a
They told-
particular district in town that had an ordinance against short-term rentals, if I remember correctly. And the way that was written, the court found that for the person bringing the lawsuit, the plaintiff.
So I don't understand why the town felt they had to regulate short-term rentals. What was the
It was
actual-
part of like a 1929 document for this section of town.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of communities, like homeowner associations, condo associations, who ban them altogether. They'll have a minimum rental of 6 months or 3 months or whatever. And the reason being is that they usually are a nightmare, frequently.
See, that I don't understand. What is the issue they're trying to solve? What's the?
They're trying to solve a revolving door of every week there being a new person there and the people not knowing who this person is. They don't know the regulations of the small community, the HOA or the condo or whatever it may be. But there are a lot of towns, especially on lakes, that have Airbnbs, and people are in there for a week or two, and it's constant changing. And in a lot of these smaller communities, it's a little frightening to people that have been there for years to now have transient people. And I understand that. I would probably have an issue with it myself if I had neighbors that were changing all the time. So unfortunately, Steve Barry is one of my neighbors and he's not here tonight, so.
You should take a look at the OSSP's short-term rental rules. They worked hard on it, went through in one article, it was in place to address all of it, especially emergency services, because, occupancy, they were, houses that were for 2-bedroom and there was like 16 to 25 people in it.
Yeah.
And they party every single weekend. So they came and they spent a lot of time on it. So that would be a good example.
Yeah, this is not something we have to do right now. It's going to most likely be some kind of warrant article.
Oh, yeah.
at some point, maybe not this year, but
Wolfboro did theirs last year, and the planning board still has not written regulations for it. It's driving us crazy over there.
What do you mean, what did they do?
Well, the windows have to be a certain size, the septic has to be, whatever the septic is approved for, that's the only number of rooms, bedrooms you can have, fire extinguishers, I can't remember, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Unfortunately, at the town meeting, when they were having discussion of the warrant article, one of the planning board members said, oh, we'll grandfather people that have been doing it for years, and never put it in the ordinance, that in the warrant article the people voted on, which is bugaboo for me, because if so there's a fire and somebody gets killed at one of those, quote, grandfathered, but not in the document, there's going to be a lawsuit that's going to cost the town a bloody fortune.
And Ossipee worked in the fire marshal aspect of that,
Yeah.
so this is a business.
so I think we can do something more comprehensive. I guess at this point, just make everybody on the board aware that we're thinking about it. And I guess we can post somewhere, like on the website, that if you are renting your property, you need to register with the DRA, and you should be paying the hotel tax, and just make people aware of that for now.
But only for short term. The long term, you don't have to pay that tax.
No,
Yeah.
and I don't know how they define it. There is a
100, less than 100,
180, right? Is it-
180 days, I think it is.
Yeah. It's,
180 days, if you're less than...
Less than 180 days. Any amount of time less than 180 days you're considered a short-term rental.
And you pay tax on it.
Rooms and meals, yeah.
Rooms and meals.
it's 78-A3, where they define it. So, I don't know where we post that, maybe just on the website.
But doesn't the town have to adopt the
It's
rules?
state rule.
Or an ordinance before you tell them they have to do something? If
It's a state rule. It's just
Well,
making you
that's
aware of the
state.
state
Rooms and
rule.
meals
Oh,
is
it's a
state.
state rule.
Yeah.
It's 78A and 674.
Well, I have a question too. We have home, I forget our nomenclature, home business.
Home occupation, home business.
Yeah, so home occupation, I think, is for people who work in their home.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need a permit for that, generally, as long as you meet the
Generally,
basic
yeah,
rules
yeah.
there. But if you're doing more than that out of your home as a business, you have to get a permit from, I believe, the select board.
Yes.
So if someone has a short-term rental, is that a home business?
Yes. It is,
And
because,
should they be getting a permit?
Yes.
Which I'm guessing they're not.
well,
But I'm kind of
typically,
a question to you if you know.
I'm not sure we have not issued any permits for that. I'm not sure how many, doesn't matter, I'm not sure how many short-term rentals we have in town, but with the new ADUs, I could see many more blossoming in the future, especially over on the lake, for example. Everybody could put one up, and the issue of maybe parties every weekend would be a concern. I could see calls coming in, they're partying again, That
Because
could-
if we put something on our website about existing rules, we could include that. You know, if you're operating a home business,
You need a permit from the
this is
select.
what our existing rules require you to do, which is to come and get a permit.
But we say if your home business is completely contained, no obvious signs on the outside, we don't care. It's only when you come outside and start impacting.
the reality is, most of these that are the Airbnbs and whatever are on like websites like vacationrentals.com. Now, if you're advertising your home as, that to me is almost like a hotel. If they're coming in for a week or 2 weeks, I think it's nice for the fire department, everybody else, to realize that it's a transient situation and it's for profit. I mean, I think the key here is that it's almost like creating a hotel-motel situation, because now you're making money, because now what's happening is people are buying these cottages or houses and they're renting them out by the week and 2 weeks. That's where I think it becomes, people have an issue with it.
But we're also the Lakes region where rentals have been happening weekly and monthly.
Forever.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
day immemorial.
Yeah.
I think that Rich So home business is a commercial business activity conducted on a lot being used for residential purposes that exceeds the standards for a home occupation, must obtain an operating permit, and must meet the following requirements, including what you mentioned, that no external evidence of the activity. But as I read it, you're still supposed to get a permit, and it's not supposed to be obvious.
It's interesting because the rule we've been using is if it's self-contained, you're a computer person or whatever working in the back room.
Well, then I think that's a home occupation.
Yes. Okay, what was the other one you read?
Home business.
Home business.
Yeah. And where you cross that line, I don't know that it's clear, but basically what it says is if what you're doing doesn't meet the home occupation rule, then you're in the home business rule, and you need a permit.
And if you're doing it every week, it is the home.
Well, that's my point, is if becomes a transient situation, then.
We've had home businesses, but we've never had home businesses / rentals.
Yeah.
But I guess the question too, again, and somebody brought up the fire issue, and some of these places that are being rented, quite frankly, I don't think would qualify for the town as far as fire goes.
Most
And
people,
rescue.
yeah, but a lot of renters wouldn't go get a permit at all. Like,
No,
I
it's
don't
not
even know
the
that you need
renter
a
that's getting the
fire
permit, it's the homeowner that's getting the permit.
But if the homeowner doesn't have a fire permit and his renters have a big outside fire, it's on the homeowner.
Well, I'm worried about an inside fire and they're trapped on the second floor.
Either way, yeah.
And the only way to get out is that stairway that they can't get to the front door.
So there's definitely a lot of issues. I think
Yeah.
we should work
I
on
think
it.
so.
And
Yeah.
would everybody, I don't know if we need to vote, but should we put something on the website about the state rules at least? Is everybody okay with that?
We could do that, yeah. I don't think we need a vote for that, that's just sharing information on where to
Yeah.
put it. We'll deal with that one.
Mhm.
Okay, and then
Yeah,
we'll take up language and more articles later in the year. All right. Anything from Concord, Mark? I don't know, you're tracking.
Yeah, I
bills.
did, I looked today. I get updates, I think it's every week, on this Fast Democracy website. There was 4 bills, I thought I'd mention 3 look like they're gonna pass. One would allow ADUs within or attached to certain non-conforming structures, like a detached garage. So I think it would broaden the types of things that could be turned into ADUs. It went through committee, the committee recommended it, and it has this odd, they have this odd category, they call it ought to pass with amendment. I guess that's because the committee.
It's got to do crossover. And that happens, it's going to happen in the next month.
It's got to
Next
do
few
what?
weeks. It crosses over from the House to
To
the
the
Senate, and the Senate bills cross over to the House.
Yeah.
So, and
Okay.
we're following that as well.
Yeah, so that's one that would broaden the ADUs. Then there's one that would allow towns to limit ADUs within protected shoreline areas. So as I understand it, would amend the ADU law to say if it's within the shoreland areas, which are 250 feet from the water, the town can regulate that. And it could actually prohibit a detached ADU on lots like that, where it can't do that, more generally. Wouldn't have to do it, but it would allow us, if we wanted as a town, to do that, in Kingswood.
The state would still have a 75-foot setback requirement.
Yeah, this is
It should be
just
75 to 250.
for an ADU,
Yeah.
only for ADUs, yeah. Another kind of related one is a bill that would allow towns to approve tiny houses and yurts as permitted housing or as ADUs with, I think, as little as 400 square feet to the structure. And then there's one that would go the other way, well, unrelated to the ADUs. all those first three are all out of committee and recommended passage, so I guess they're crossing over to the
They'll
Senate.
cross over to the Senate in a
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
This one has been designated for interim study, and I don't know how long that takes or what that means.
It won't have any action this year. They'll talk about it over the summer.
Yeah,
May come back next year.
and that would limit municipal land use regulation. It would repeal workforce housing requirements, and it would create an Invest New Hampshire program. So basically, it would trying to limit the amount of regulation that towns could impose on zoning rules. But interim study, so who knows where that will go. Anyway, those are the ones
All
that
right, so we'll keep
piqued
an
my
eye on the
interest a little.
ADUs for sure.
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Nothing to do right now. Just wait till they pass or don't pass. All right, I think we have nothing legal, right? Just waiting on Laura for rules of procedure and master plan. I was hoping we could have I don't know if everybody's had a chance to even look at the master plan. Mark, I know you have. I have, Marshall has. So I think, Don, we'll get their draft over to you, and then we need to have a public hearing on that. So unfortunately, we probably have to wait until the next meeting to set that public hearing, and then we can talk about it at the next meeting. And just for 2026, stuff that we still have on the agenda is master plan. Marshall's got it spearheading that. Rules of procedure, that's Leah and me spearheading. Gravel pits, we talked about that a lot today. I'll do that, the form and the letter for Chris, but I thought maybe we could sort of assign people to some of these things, so maybe Steve would be okay on that one. And I just have this water resource task force thing on here. We don't need to do anything right now, but it might be a good idea to have that at some point, just given our aquifers and that type of stuff, and additional development that may come down the road. And member education technically is vice chair's responsibility, but I would just encourage all the members to listen to a couple seminars here and there, and just pay attention to what's going on with some of these bills.
And we have to get Leah to update the ordinances and sign that, right, to make that legal.
Yes. That'll come, well, she can do it next week, hopefully. And then we can send it either at the next meeting, if not before. And then Donna, having some experience with other planning boards, would love to have your input on gravel pits and ADUs and short-term rentals and all that kind of stuff.
Well, ADUs, I don't have a real issue with them. I think they're important for the community, because in our aging community, I think it's important to be able to have a place for either parents or children to live, because I don't know how many kids can afford housing nowadays. So, and it's nice for them to have their own space. And considering I bought a house that has one and nobody lives in it, but if my kids come to visit, I can still go to bed early and get up early.
Just last thing, we had, remember this flow chart that we did? If you haven't seen this, but if you go on the website, there's a little button that says start here, and it's basically, this is the first page, and it tells you, if you try to do something, where do you go? So there's another flow chart that's in the application. I think it's in this appendix B. Yeah, it's in this pre-application process. So here's a whole nother flow chart that is more or less the same. I think we should just combine them, and rather than have stuff that may or may not agree, or if you have to update it, just combine the two and put them both in the same place. So I'll work with Leah on that as well.
Now, I have a question. In the orange book, I noticed under the planning board, that we have an expense line of $20,000, but I don't see an income line for our permits and whatever. Did I miss the income?
Income goes to the general fund. All income goes to the
Okay,
general fund.
so then we have an expense line of $20,000. That seems excessive.
You were mostly looking at legal.
No, it said planning board, and it was under salary for $20,000.
So there's a piece of the administrative salary in there. There's SRPC, which is the regional planning. I think that was 12,000, 12,500 maybe.
No, where's the damage book? I mean, if when I looked at it, I was confused, I would say, people probably wonder what we're doing.
It's probably not broken out.
Oh,
I think SRPC is 12, Leah might be 4, and legal's 2 or something like
Well,
that.
legal's under the selectmen, but it's a big number.
Yeah. Well, it was last
After the past few years.
last year. 84.
actually, I think it's, I don't know Leah, but I think it did say Leah next to it. Did she make 20,000?
Not from the planning board. She's also the admin for selectmen.
Yeah.
It was under the town payroll.
Oh, that's in the back of the book. And that would be, all her work per town would be 20,000. That's more than planning board.
Well, then it shouldn't say the planning board. It's only defined, it's only in there as planning board, is my point. So, I can't find it right now. Do you know where it is?
Right in the back, under, it's all the expenditures are listed.
I read it, but I don't remember where it was. Because we only meet one day a month, right?
Yeah.
I was just wondering how we could spend it. Here we go.
And we don't get.
$20,527.
Which one? Yeah, that's her salary.
Okay.
Leah payroll, that's not,
Oh, that's,
she has a lot more than just working on the planning board.
oh, so I don't know who she is, so she does other things?
Yeah, she's the selectman's assistant too.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the total compensation.
But she's on the planning board?
Yes, she is.
She got elected separately from her role as
Okay.
working for the town.
I've never had that happen. Anybody who's decided to run stepped away from being as our secretary in other towns, so that surprised me. Okay.
She's got strict rules to keep them separate.
There's a bill working through Concord that says you can't do that. You can't have a...
I've never had it, it's never been permitted, so, and believe me, I've never met her, so I have nothing against her.
It is permitted today, but there is a bill that...
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Change that?
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Most towns don't allow that. And in my prior experiences, what happens was that they, if they decide if they live in the town, decide they want to run for an office, they step down as secretary and go into.
We won't let her do that.
Huh?
We're off the board first.
It's what?
We won't let her do that.
Okay.
We need her working for the town in other words.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But that would be up to her, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, our budget includes about 12,000, maybe 12.5 for the SRPC. So that's, they helped us with the master plan, they updated all our maps.
okay.
They did some road work for you, that was maybe paid for separately. But. All right. So the other thing we have in there, it's got the dates for the planning board members wrong. We'll get it correct on the website. So we've had these one-year terms because of resignations and whatnot. And we should, unless we have more resignations, we should get back into this two, 3-year terms opening up every election cycle.
So nobody resigned, then is what he's trying to say. If I'm reading between the lines.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I had. Anybody else? Anything else?
We're back on schedule then. next month.
Back on schedule. Is the date on here somewhere? Next regular meeting, April 13th, 6 PM, second Monday. And it is 7:22. Meeting adjourned.
I can't make the next meeting.
All right. Where's this up to?
Oh,
Then you have to
I
get your
probably
own
could-
alternate to show up.
I probably could show my if that was important for planning purposes.